Good afternoon. This is Kathleen Drew, Chair of the Energy Facility Site Evaluation Council, calling to order our special meeting for Friday, September 13th. Ms. Grantham, will you call the roll?
Certainly. Department of Commerce.
Elizabeth Osborne, present.
Department of Ecology.
Eli Levitt, present.
Department of Fish and Wildlife.
Mike Livingston, present.
Department of Natural Resources.
Lenny Young, present.
Utilities and Transportation Commission.
Stacy Brewster, present.
For the Benton County, Ed Grost.
Present.
Assistant Attorney Generals John Thompson
Present.
and Zach Packer.
Present.
Administrative Law Judge Adam Torum.
Present.
I will call council staff who may speak today. Sonia Bumpus.
Present.
Amy Hofkemeyer.
Present.
Amy Moon
Amy Moon, present.
and Sean Green.
Present.
And is there anyone present for the Council for the Environment?
Yes, Sarah Reineveld is present.
Thank you. Chair, there is a quorum.
Thank you, Ms. Grantham. Council members, you see before you the agenda for today. I will ask if there is a motion to adopt the agenda.
Stacy Brewster, so moved.
Thank you. Second.
Eli Levitt, second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The agenda is adopted. Before we move on to the council discussion on the Horse Heaven Wind Farm, I have an update from Executive Director Sonia Bumpus about an issue that's recently come to our attention. Ms. Bumpus.
Thank you, Chair Drew and council members. For the record, this is Sonia Bumpus. At our last special meeting, the council deliberated on the project for this final action that's before you today. And since that time, FSEC has learned that there was an application submitted by the applicant for the transfer of water rights that is currently with the local Water Conservancy Board for use of the Gold Well. We wanted to make sure that we let the council know about this, and we have prepared some information that Sean Green is going to share with you, and we'll take any questions that you have afterwards. Mr. Green?
Thank you. For the record, this is Sean Green. In regards to this request, this application would permit the project to make use of Goldwell's water rights to meet project needs during construction and operation. While the FEIS, the final environmental impact statement, does not cover the specific environmental impacts associated with the withdrawal from this discrete water source, it does fully evaluate environmental impacts associated with the project use of a similar offsite water source. The use of Gold Well would result in roughly equivalent environmental impacts as the example water source used in the FEIS analysis. Staff does not anticipate any new or increased project environmental impacts as a result of the use of Gold Well's water rights as a potential water source. As part of the applicant's water rights transfer request, FSEC staff will work with the Department of Ecology to ensure that that impact analysis specific to the Gold Well water rights transfer is completed and included in the FEIS, either as an addendum or supplemental. Addendums and supplementals are a standard part of the SEPA process to incorporate any new or updated information into an EIS, and it was always anticipated that this FEIS would be similarly updated over time. The draft SCA before the council today includes multiple authorizations that the project would need to receive between the execution of the SCA and the start of construction including a requirement that the applicant provide certification of water availability to FSEC. This condition of the SCA requires that the applicant provide FSEC with information showing that the water source that they use will be sustainable and adhere to the best management practices. It is the opinion of staff that the council has been provided with a comprehensive analysis of project impacts on the regional aquifer in this FEIS, and that this water rights transfer request does not materially affect the council's ability to cast an informed vote on whether to recommend this draft SCA for the governor's approval. And I'll take any questions if you have them.
Are there any questions from council members? Okay, moving on then to the council discussion. Oh, there a question from a council member? I don't know who that is.
I think that's just feedback from Ed.
Okay. Okay, so moving on to the Horse Heaven Wind Farm discussion. All of you council members have had the opportunity to review the proposed draft SCA that staff has prepared under request from us to respond to the governor's concerns and direction. Does anyone have any questions about the information that has been provided, the discussion from the last meeting, and anything at all about the proposed draft SCA revisions? Okay. At this point, I'd like to ask if there is a motion to approve the revised draft SCA for the governor. And I would ask for a roll call vote.
Stacy Brewster, so moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Elizabeth Osborne, I'll second.
Elizabeth Osborne, second. Thank you. I will ask Ms. Grantham to call the roll of the council on the approval of the proposed draft site certification agreement.
Now we'll start with you, Chair Drew.
Aye.
Department of Commerce,
Aye.
Department of Ecology,
Aye.
Department of Fish and Wildlife,
Nay.
Department of Natural Resources,
Nay.
Utilities and Transportation Commission,
Aye.
and for Benton County, Ed Brost.
Nay.
There are 4 ayes and 3 nays, Chair Drew.
I neglected to ask if there were comments, and it is appropriate for people to give their comments if you wish to at this point in time. Mr. Young.
Thank you, Chair Drew. I was not able to support the original SCA and recommendation to the governor because I felt that the SCA did not sufficiently reduce impacts to Yakima Nation traditional cultural properties. And my concern in this area is only heightened by the revision that the council just voted on. And I do appreciate the specific attention to the Yakima Nation TCPs by the bounding out of an area around Weber Canyon. But in terms of comparing the revision to the original SCA, that's a wash because that area had been bounded out for other reasons in the original SCA. And the way the rest of the revision is configured, there's a lot of land that was bounded out previously that is now back in play. And as we were briefed by staff at our August 29 meeting, a substantial number of turbines as originally indicated and as we've been working through the process that would come back into play, back onto the land. So my concerns around Yakima Nation TCPs have only been heightened by the revision, and that's the reason I voted nay today.
Thank you. Ms. Osborne?
Thank you, Chair Drew. I first of all want to take a moment to say thanks to this group for allowing me some extra time for this vote. I had an unexpected medical issue and I really appreciate your understanding. I listened to the meeting recording from August 29th and again, very much appreciated the questions and discussion of the council members and the work by staff to prepare for this decision and address the council's questions at that time. I shared some concerns, I think, that have been voiced by others around impacts to traditional cultural properties, but overall, each of the mitigation measures that were proposed by staff and that have been considered by this council are acceptable to me. And that's really the comment I wanted to make. Thank you.
Thank you. Other comments? Ms. Brewster? I think you're muted.
Sorry, I thought I had clicked unmute.
It's okay.
A number of the public comments that came in commended the original SCA for its science-based protections and mitigation measures, especially for ferruginous hawk. And I think, I've thought about it quite a bit. I think the same is true for this revised version. It allows for more specific scientific evaluation and adaptive management and mitigation, which includes exclusion beyond the 0.6 miles around hawk nests, while balancing the need for green energy production. So I was for the original SCA, and I appreciated those hard boundaries. This new one puts them a bit more in flex, but I think it allows for sufficient protections and an opportunity to study it further. I think it's I'm okay with this. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Other comments? I wanted to say thank you to all of you for all of your time and effort and attention that you have put in throughout this process, your thoughtful consideration. It's not an easy task. This is a very complex project that our statute requires us to really take that look of providing for abundant clean energy at a reasonable cost, while at the same time addressing the impacts to the environment and the broad interests of the public. And we can all look at the same information and have a slightly different answer. And I just appreciate all the work that you've put forward coming from your perspectives to add to our consideration as a whole of this project. And I'd especially like to thank the hard work of the FSEC staff in putting the information before us, putting the options before us, helping us work through this very challenging balancing of the need for clean energy with impacts that we see to the community and to the wildlife in the area. So My great appreciation to everyone on this council and on the staff who has spent long, hard hours. And motion is carried. With that, this meeting is adjourned. Oh, Lenny, go ahead. I will,
Yeah,
Mr. Young, allow you to.
Okay, thank you.
Almost cut you off
I was
there.
just going to inquire, of course, our attention has been focused on the SCA, the revision, but is there going to be something similar to the report that transmits the revised SCA to the governor? Is there a cover letter or a document like we had before that would be going with this one?
I've discussed this with our counsel, John Thompson, and because what we are required to do is provide just the revised SCA, it will have a cover letter from me, just explaining what those changes are.
Okay, so there wouldn't be a document like we had before in which the
No.
council members either sign it or provide a statement.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you for that.
Thank you for asking that. I appreciate that. Okay. Any other questions before I adjourn the meeting? With that, appreciate every one of you and your perspective and the work you've put into this discussion and decision. Meeting is adjourned.